physical address of the Dupre Rec Center, do we know? Okay.
I think we ought to wait till he confirms that location, but it's on Pont de Mouton.
Okay. Just, parking was my concern, because I know Domain has got real limited parking. All right, thank you, that was my question.
Okay, and it's from 6 o'clock until 8 o'clock, so it's meant to be a come and go, so people won't be there the entire time. Hopefully that will help with any parking challenges that the location has. And then we've also been working with the library on the focus groups and identified 3 groups for November 7th, city and parish leadership, school leadership, so from some of the schools that are adjacent to the site, community business leaders, and then as a follow-up, we're working on getting a group of Northside High School student leaders to do a virtual focus group with us, so we get the high school students' perspective as well.
So that's 4 focus groups on the 7th. Do you have times that y'all are going to be doing that?
And where?
We have not set the times yet, or sent out the invitations, but that is in progress.
Okay. But the focus groups are just, how many people are going to be involved in your focus groups?
We're keeping those small. I believe we said probably about 6.
Question? One of my concerns about the focus groups, because we had not really had, we knew that there were going to be focus groups. We didn't know exactly who they were going to be in terms of what specialty area and who would make up those groups. Can you or someone go into more detail about how the membership, the participants in each of these groups has been determined?
Danny, can you help us, or Maureen?
I can help you out. Okay, so with regard to government leaders, we have asked the city councilman, Kenneth Boudreau, and A.B. Rubin from the parish, because that is the district that they're in. We have asked Mayor President Boulay or her designee to come. We have also reached out to Councilman Tabor, because he represents where the North Regional Library currently is, and we have also reached out to the councilman of Broussard, Councilman Broussard, because his city district is encompasses some of the area around that.
Mr. Elroy Broussard?
Yes. And then for school leaders, we have reached out to all of the schools east of the Thruway. Not going to respond yet, but I will call them. If I don't hear from them, I will call them tomorrow or Monday. We're asking them to provide, if not the principal, the librarian or another designee. And we will also have someone from the LPSS main office. And I am waiting. Ella was working with Alton to get community leaders. So I'm waiting for them on that.
A question about the schools. I'm assuming this is all schools, public, private, parochial.
Correct.
Okay. And the second question I have about the focus groups is, I would like to understand why the decision was made to not allow the advisory committee members to observe the discussions. And so I would like some information about that. Not to participate in it, but to observe the conversations.
In order for the committee to be there, it has to be a public meeting, and therefore if we open it up to the committee, we open it up to the public, and that makes the focus group a little harder. It's more difficult to get someone to participate in a focus group if they feel like they're on stage. And because the committee has already set by motion and vote in a previous meeting that public comments would be allowed at all committee meetings, this focus groups would be, in effect, committee meetings. And they are subject to open meeting law and all of the access requirements related to that. And it's sort of, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it defeats the purpose of the focus group.
Why?
I agree with Danny.
I mean, why? I mean, I'm really trying to understand why, because if
He
the
just
problem is
explained
you're
why.
trying to thread the needle in terms of the open meetings law, then you could do, basically, you could have just 2 members of the committee. In other words, just, I don't understand why the committee members can't observe.
They will bring a report back to us, and I trust our library staff and I trust our consultant, that they will do a good job and they will bring a report back to us. And if we see that something is missing, we can ask about it, and we can also engage with the community. So,
Well,
I
I
understand.
disagree with that, and
Appreciate
I
that.
also understood that there were not gonna be any minutes taken. I presume there'll be some notes taken.
What they are gonna take notes, they're
But
gonna-
it'll be pretty hard, to ask questions if you're not there.
well,
to
we
observe.
can do that when Miss Maureen, does the report. And, but I appreciate your comment.
Right.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, let me ask this, Alton Trahan. I too, I initially expressed concern. I've been engaged in many of these focus groups, community groups, and the charrettes and everything. And I've been on committees and I was present. So that's why I initially voiced my original concern, because I've never had to run into this situation before. And I still express concern that I don't see why a member so could not be there, because me personally, I like firsthand information. At least someone could at least articulate and hear from the community, not to have input if it's a concern, because obviously you're gonna have potentially 2 council members who are on the committee that's gonna be there. So then my point to that is, and that's the case, then they should be exempt from it as well, because they're on the committee. But we don't want them to be exempt because they're part of the council member and the budget and everything, dealing with the community leaders. So again, I don't know what's Maureen's experience, but in relationship to her consultant and doing it in many cities. But I do express concern as far as for wanting to at least be present to hear some of the feedbacks. And here's the reason why I said that. It's very difficult for someone on a committee to really get good feedback and have a good direction of where the community, the leaders, everyone who's involved want to direct the library, right? Without having a good continuity of information inflow. And that's always my concern. I like to be either in the room I have a representation. It could be you, far as I'm concerned, at least someone having a direct representation, that we can get that input, not to discount or discredit what we're going to get from the consultant. So that was my initial concern in the email.
Danny? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so A.B. Rubin is on the committee and represents that district, and he will be, hopefully, in one of the focus groups. There's no reason that as a community leader, you could not be in the focus group that you're working with Ella to put together. And then one of you can attend the focus group with the schools, and then you have a committee member in each of the meetings, and if that would work. The big fear we had been having with the discussions that were going on was that we were going to run into the open meetings law, and that was it.
It's a legitimate, and I don't think you want to even get close to even impinging upon that. I think if you're understanding if it's a member, then that's fine, but I agree that should not be anyone, that would make a quorum, if you will, because we would definitely be in violation, and that's something that we definitely don't want to get involved in.
The advantage of being there in person is that the information is direct, it's not filtered. And so that, to me, is the benefit of having the committee member present. whether or not they participate or they just observe, which I'd be very happy to observe. I just think that would be desirable from my perspective.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Maureen.
From my perspective, the open house is a more important time for you to all be there. Hopefully, we'll have a lot of participants, and because you've already seen the images and know the services that those provide, it's an opportunity to interact directly with people as they walk around the room and share with them your thoughts and your knowledge about what it is that the information that we're trying to gather. The focus groups will be a lot of similar questions to what you all responded to in your meeting on October 3rd. So we'll be asking from each of these people's perspectives. So from a school perspective, how can the library best support the community? From a business perspective, how can the library best support the community? And if there are questions that you want us to be sure to ask each of these groups, I would love for you to submit those to the library to share with us as we're putting together the discussion guide. We're sure to ask those questions.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I was gonna say was if y'all have any ideas or input as to what y'all would want her to ask.
Frankly, I want to hear what the people want. That's, it's not what I
They will
want.
report it back to us. Okay. Ms. Maureen?
I don't think I have anything else to add. It's certainly your call. We definitely want to follow any meeting laws that you have to make sure we're in compliance with everything. But we will put together a summary. We'll be recording the sessions so that we can take that back, do a transcript, and create notes and a summary of each of those. What we do want to be sure of is that, especially the community leaders, that they feel able to say whatever they need to say in these meetings without being quoted and ending up in the newspaper. So we want to be careful of that as well.
Okay. Well, I can respect that. Do y'all have any other questions for Maureen or library staff?
I'm just disappointed about that, but,
I know.
it is what it is.
So again, the first first meeting that you're gonna have with the public will be held on November the 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. That's gonna be an open house, and the public is allowed to go and walk in and out, and they'll get play money to put on the design that they would like to see. And they also have an opportunity to add to what they would like to see if they didn't see it on your chart.
There will be some general welcome and presentation, though. I mean, no, nothing like that.
No, it really will be an open house. We've done this a lot of times, and the participation has been really great because people don't have to all be there at the same time for any opening remarks. It will be, as each group comes in or individually, we'll talk to them about what they're doing, why we're doing it, give them the dollars and explain that they're voting on services and spaces and not colors and aesthetics. And we'll be walking around interacting with people as they come in. So no formal presentation. That way it gives people flexibility to come after work, to come after dinner, to come before the soccer game that night. They can come and go as they need to. And we've gotten some really great participation by being that flexible.
is there an opportunity established to allow people that that maybe want to add another idea other than the ones that are established? How will that be set up?
Yes, we have a blank board that just says, what else would you like to see in the Northeast Regional Library? And we'll have Post-it notes that people can write their request on and put it on the Post-it note. And that's a great way to gather additional information. And remember, we also have the QR code, which has some open-ended questions on the online survey that people can add as much as they would like to there as well. So there's multiple opportunities to add or confirm things that we're showing or not showing.
Thank you.
And 3 members could go to the open house without violating the open meetings law. So I had suggested that AB, Consuela, and Alton go. If y'all want to go to the open house, y'all could split it up, go 6 to 7, 7 to 8, or y'all all 3 can be there at the same time without violating open meetings law. But with the focus group, like she said, in order for people to be able to speak freely, and I do understand that. And if you were in a focus group before, I'm sure y'all can understand where she's coming from.
I mean, I respectfully disagree with that because of my experience, but then again, I'm not going to be confrontational about it. I mean, if that's her best practice, what she does in her consultancy, I'll let it be. But again, I reinstate, I've been around this thing for quite some time, and one of the things that's very key, that anyone who's on the committee definitely wants to get direct feedback, even if you're not saying or speaking anything. It's kind of like going to be the community meeting. You're going to have members there. So if you're using that same, ideology or philosophy that someone's going to be intimidated or the media, this and that, same thing exists. That's why I expressed my disagreement. But again, I mean, I'm respectful for the process. Just wanted to move forward. I don't need any more delays.
Thank you. Okay. Well, did you have anything else to add, Ms. Maureen, before you go?
That's all I have for tonight. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Is there any question about the surveys, or are you getting additional feedback with the surveys, or is it?
That's us.
Oh, that's on the library administration side? Okay.
Did y'all have any other questions for her, though?
No.
Maureen, do you want to stay while we share our screen with you to see the survey results?
Yes,
So
I
far?
would love to see where you are in the survey.
And this is a work in progress, so it'll be cumulative and updated.
And also, if you go to the Northeast Library website, on the main library website, there is the presentation that she presented to us on October the 3rd. It is in there, and also the results from our survey that we did. It's on that site. So I'm sure when she gets the public surveys, they will be added to the Northeast Library website.
So my understanding that there's a maximum number of surveys that are going to be, then it'll be cut off after the number 650 is reached? Is that what that's stipulating?
No, ma'am,
No.
that's just for the page, that's just a technical thing for the
Okay,
report.
okay.
And also, when is the deadline? Remind the people when the deadline for the survey is?
November 30th.
Danny, do we have something on our website, the library's website, that says deadline November 30th?
It does say that we're collecting through November 30th.
Right here at the top of the webpage.
Mary, you were asking about the Northeast Library website, it's right there.
Yeah.
So as you can see, we've got a lot of participation from the local schools.
reached out to the schools and asked that they allow the survey to be done in the schools. And you can see the results are pretty good. You see those less than 18-year-olds are leading the pack right now. So we need some more adults out there to get that survey in. But we've got 650 responses.
As of right now,
Yeah.
650.
So that's great.
Maureen, I'm curious, in your experience of getting surveys from Publix when you are building libraries, what's a healthy number from the community regarding surveys?
So in general, 650 is a great number. It's usually about, to be a statistically valid survey, it needs to be 10% of the folks that live in that area. And I feel, what's the population? I'm sorry, I don't remember the number of the Northeast region. Population surge.
4,000? I have more than that.
It's various census tracts that you would have to combine. It's probably, I would guess, 20 to 40,000 would be my guess. What's that? Closer to 20 would be my guess, yeah.
I wasn't able to get that.
So we're exceeding the statistically valid level, so that's great. And we still have 6 weeks to go, and the community input sessions spread the word even a little bit more.
And our committee has been doing a good job reaching out to people that they know through their nonprofit organizations or through other community involvement that they're with. So thank y'all so much, committee, for doing your part. And I have tried also.
I have a question. The least responsive category was the 19 to 29, was it? My question is, and it may have been published and I just overlooked it, is the university or college students and young working adults, I mean, that would be that particular group, I would assume. Are we reaching out at all to our university and the people that attend UL from that area?
I am involved in a organization in the community that has ULL professors in that, and I shared it with them, what we're doing. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
we can do that. If you know any professors, start emailing them and letting them know. You know, that I want y'all to understand that this committee, one of the greatest things that we can do is engage with the public, educate them on the process from here to the, you know, as we move forward in the process. And, you know, it's going to be a great help. And it's very important to do that.
I just thought that there might be a more of a clearinghouse at the university where we could reach out to them and just, because they would be very adept at using the QR code and very responsive to that. So I don't know if Danny did. I'll try to look into that and see if I can find any
I don't know
ideas.
if they can do a mass announcement on certain things that are outside of university.
I don't know. We'll see. I'll get back to you.
Ms.
Could
Maureen?
you please go back to the question on why do you not use the library? So I think this is really interesting to your question about the 18 or the 19 to 29-year-olds. Oh, it's not my age group. The colors changed to a different.
Give me a second.
Sorry.
We can do that.
Give me a second.
Okay. I was just thinking that in addition to the building, this survey will give us some information about what we need to share with the community. So it is, they don't read a lot. You know, doing some PR on all of the other things that are possibilities of the library. So if we can get some of these cohorts to come to that community open house, we can share with them all of the interesting things that are built around reading but aren't reading, the maker spaces and the study room spaces that maybe would be useful to this group who's probably working remote or looking for a trivia night or some of the other programs that the library is doing. So that's the other interesting thing that we can use this.
I think that's a great idea, to expose them to, take them out of the old traditional mindset of libraries are just books and bring them into a more contemporary time. One of the things that I had mentioned at the first meeting was an idea about using this opportunity to register people for library cards. Is that something that you've ever done in any of your other sessions, and is it a feasible idea?
I have not done that before, but I think it's a great idea to have a link to, Danny, do you register for library cards online, or is it a paper application?
It is paper application because state laws have changed. So if a child wants a library card, we need a parent signature. There's no reason we can't bring applications with us.
With some signage so that people know. I just think it'd be cool to encourage people to get a library card, and because maybe they don't have one, and they can start using that card now and get into the library habit.
The other thing I have seen done is for when we do invited focus groups, that there is a thank you package to those folks, and if they don't have a library card, I've had libraries that sign those community leaders up for a library card and include it in their thank you packet. So that's another thing you can also do with the community leaders.
Did you want to see any other results from the survey that you did? Danny, did you have something to say?
I was just going to ask Maureen if you wouldn't mind, could you stay around just to hear the public comments? I've been told at least one of them is going to be specifically about the focus groups.
Okay.
Did you have any other information to share with us, Miss Maureen?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing
Committee.
those survey results. It'd be really interesting to see it all together.
Did y'all want to ask any questions or provide any feedback or suggestions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, thank you for your time, Maureen, and like Danny said, if you don't mind hanging around to hear public comments, that is next. Public comments from the public.
Mitzi Moss Studio.
Thanks for staying, Maureen. I'm one of them that wanted to talk about the focus groups. A couple things I'd like to say. The biggest thing with this whole library construction and development is a serious need to relay communication to the residents and the community around it, and also the users. And on that note, I would like to just address this. I know there's no decision on my end, and I really don't understand the focus group, but when I was listening to the names being included for the focus groups, some of the names were obviously council members, and they are the ones that are casting the vote. I'm just gonna put it out there, people. I didn't hear too many females in that list, but that's what I'm gonna bring up. And the other thing is, I didn't see too many actual community members from the public in that list. And I don't know if that's on purpose or not. It's just my observation, and I wanted it to be documented. And I have to admit, I'm sitting here listening to Mr. Trahan's input, and he does not stand alone. There's so many community members that feel as though as many people that can hear the information, especially the decision makers, i.e. this board that's gonna make recommendations and all, this committee that's gonna make recommendations. I just think it's imperative that they get it firsthand and also be able to access you and other people from the company if there is more than just you right then and there. There's nothing like pressing the flesh. And I guess I want to remind people that it's the community that's going to have to live with any decision that's made, and many of us are going to be gone. So that's my point.
Thank you. Wayne Colvin?
We're still talking, excuse me, Wayne Colvin, we're still talking about topic 4?
No, sir. We finished that discussion. We're on public comments.
Okay, well, I turned in one on 4 because y'all went back and forth on the recap, and I'm sorry, ma'am, I had a tough time understanding you. You actually raised your voice, and I'm poor of hearing, so it's my fault. But maybe it's the acoustics, it's just my fault. And so the recap of how this open forum is going to be, or this focus group is going to work, I wasn't sure whether there's questions and answers, open house, or what. So I know you can't answer questions, but I'll get that later. Main issue, I know government's not a business, but when a business opens a new location or proposes to open a new location, they kind of take a marketing survey to figure out, well, how many customers am I going to have? Or what's my revenue source going to be? And decide, how large a place am I going to build? And I would like to ask the question, how many visitors do we plan to have at this library? And has anybody put forth a number so that we can move forward from that? Back in 2019, when these plans were developed, the count was real high for the library visitors, but it's trended downward to stabilize the last couple of years. But it's off 30% from what it was years ago, mainly because the phone services are much better. You can do much more. People have a lot more internet service. In fact, they provided free local service to the Chromebooks all over the Northeast section there a couple of years ago. So those people no longer have to come into the library, and that's reduced the number of visitors, probably the number of study rooms, and the number of computer usage, if we could track all that data and everything. Also, if we looked, has anybody looked at the number of residents we have in that area? Now, one of the big obstacles was because of Evangeline Thruway and I-10 and crossing those big things. Now, we know we got an I-10 thoroughfare coming through. They may build some walkways, but that thing's been kicked around for 20 years, and we don't know when it's going to get built. Hopefully that will solve some of the problems, but it's still done. But that area has just not grown. In fact, they've had to expand it from the 2020 census, and that's the school board district, 1 of 9, District 4. They've had to go up to Ponte Mouton Road. They've had to go up to, this is across I-10, they've had to go up to Gloria Switch, which is always further north towards Karen Crow. They've had to go south across Evangeline Thruway.
Time's up,
Just more information needs on that, and we need to evaluate the services that we currently provide.
Time's up, Mr. Wayne.
Lynette Mejia.
Hello. So my name is Lynette Mejia. I wanted to, I don't know how much information you have or research you've done on this project, but I wanted to make sure that it was put out there that this project has been kicked around in this community for 10 years or more. A lot of people in the community that this library is going to serve have fatigue in the sense that no progress has been made. There hasn't been a lot of information put out there in the community. The community has not really been kept up to date. And so my first question is, regarding the focus groups and the information that the focus groups are going to produce, is that information going to be made public at some point? What access will the public have to that information, those statistics and that feedback? The second thing is with regards to the survey, I don't agree that it's adequate to simply have word of mouth that the survey is being spread around to. We have a four-year university here, we have a community college here. I think that if the survey can be sent to public schools, it can certainly be shared with higher education. I would also ask whether or not the survey has been, the information about the survey has been given to local media, television stations. Lots of them are partners with library events. I'm sure they'd be happy to share that the radio stations, that the survey is out there and available for people. And finally, I'm wondering if it might be a good idea to partner with the library auxiliary organizations like the Library Foundation and the Friends of the Library, who have 30, 40 years of experience in reaching out to the public, and so they have lots of contact lists and can possibly help with disseminating the survey as well. So that was it. Thank you.
Raina Bradley.
Just waiting for my clock to reset. Good afternoon. Hi, Ms. Maureen. I am Rita Bradley, and I just was appointed to the library board. So hopefully I'll be in conversation with you more as the progress continues. I have a few questions and comments about the open house that's happening on November 6th. That is very soon. It is just shy of 3 weeks from today. And we are uncertain of a location at this point. So my concern is that it will be competing with other nightly events, sports practice, homework, getting the kids to bed. I am also concerned that we are only relying on social media to spread information about these opportunities for the public to give feedback. And while social media is viral in a sense, I do not think it is the only adequate way to spread information. So I'm curious if the committee will consider flyers to be distributed to the churches, schools, local businesses. I am well aware that local businesses cannot put flyers up, but they can in their break rooms. That is a missed opportunity that we can work on right there. I'm also interested in how this open house presents a different opportunity than the survey. If the survey is collecting information, what do you hope to gain from the open house? It doesn't mean I disagree with the open house. It means that I'm interested in the fact that maybe the open house can reach people who cannot have access to the survey. If there are people in our community who do not have access to the internet or to proper phone, or they have to save their data for things like they're checking their job email, checking their schedules, then they may not can spare data to do a survey. So how can we get information to people in this community that this would be a chance where they don't have to use technology to come and give feedback on the library in their community? So I have all those ideas. I'm happy to share them with my fellow board members. They've been very receptive and very warm to me, and I look forward to working with you all on this project.
Julie LaFleur.
Thank you. My name's Julie LaFleur. Yes, I'm sure. Thank you. And I actually live in North Lafayette, so this will be the closest library to my home. And so I consider it my library. So that's why I plan on attending the meeting and the open house. The one question that I had, Rita kind of somewhat went over it, but my question is, how will the open house be advertised to the public once a location's found for the meeting? Because that's important, because this meeting, it's kind of hard to find when and where it's going to be. So I think the open house is something that really needs to be advertised to the public, especially, of course, the people who would live in the area that the library is going to be served. So that's one thing that I would love to go to the meeting, but I need to know where, I know the date and the time, but I would need to know where it's at. So where do I look, or where will that information be out in the public is my question.
Any more comments? Okay, end of comment. Thank you. Mrs. Gillane?
So with regard to how it's been advertised and reaching out to local media, we have reached out to every local media outlet in the Lafayette area. We have a list. We also have LCG's list that they use. They all got a press release for the committee meetings and for the survey. So if they don't carry it, I have no ability to make anyone tell the story. With regard to other ways we have reached, we actually can put flyers in businesses, and businesses have allowed us to put flyers in their buildings. We have someone who knows the community, and we have provided a list of the various places that have allowed us to put up flyers for the previous meeting and for this meeting. They have allowed us to put the QR code for the surveys. A.B. Rubin reached out, and we gave print surveys to A.B. Rubin, who was going to a town hall meeting yesterday, and Mary reached out for some print surveys to give out. We have coordinated with LPSS. They have been reaching out. We have not, to my knowledge, directly reached out to UL, but I will do that tomorrow, as well as SLCC. We have connections at both of those, but we have been reaching out. We have been physically putting flyers out in the community, and we have been telling the press. And yes, we seem to rely on social media a lot and on our website a lot, and I can't make people go to either one of those things, except that that's not all we're relying on. The reason you're not seeing the local media putting it out there is because the local media isn't putting it out there. So if you have connections with the local media, you can reach out to them and you can ask them, hey, did you get the press release from the library? Because they did. They've gotten 2 now, and they will get another one for the open house. They will get another one for the next committee meeting. We issue something to them for every one of these. The Northeast Library is going to be built, and we are doing everything we can.
I appreciate that, and y'all really have done a great job trying to spread the word. And the committee, y'all have been doing a great job trying to reach out to people. Are there any final comments from our committee members?
I think that I had assumed that the Library Foundation and the Friends of the Library would have been primary resources to distribute the information about with the QR code and the survey, etc. So if those have not been approached, and I don't know that they haven't been, I think that's an excellent idea, because those are people that really are knowledgeable and care and are committed to the library. The question about that Mr. Wayne was asking. Are you listening, Mr. Wayne? Can you hear me? Okay. The demographic information, I did a little research on this and shared with the members of the committee, just, age range, educational level, et cetera, et cetera. Is that part of 720's homework? And if that is, then do you share that with the committee at some point?
It's part of our data gathering at the beginning of the process, and we've been working with Larry to identify that all of the demographics that the census pulls for the region, from age to culture to children to education, all of that will be taken into consideration as we develop the needs.
And then I want to follow that up with commenting on your observation that the largest category of responses was the reason people don't go to the library was that they don't read, which is tragic, but it is a challenge as well. And I'm wondering if at the community meeting, if we couldn't, maybe at the same, if we have a little table where we encourage people to sign up for library cards, if we couldn't do a little PR work for the library system and explain what our libraries are all about. And, you know, and I don't know whether the
I would
staff
assume
is.
that they would do that in schools.
Well,
I'm not opposed to
Yeah,
that being
I'm
done.
just
I'm
talking
saying-
about, you know, speaking to the exact point that Maureen brought up. I think it shows a need, that it's a need in the community, and this is an opportunity to take advantage of exploring that. And it certainly, the staff wants more people to come to the library, and certainly we do as well. So I think this is an opportunity just to have a little information booth that could do more than just register people for new library cards, but also could make them aware of what libraries are, that they're more than what they may think. So I think that was a great observation.
Anyone else?
Yeah, let me just add, you mentioned elected officials. Don't forget your school board members, both Josh Edmond and for District 3 and Amy Trahan for District 4. Got to include them, particularly what's going on with the LPSS right now. They're heavily engaged into educational situations, so definitely include them too in the focus group as part of the elected officials, or however you guys want
Great
to use
idea.
it. So, other than that, no, I have no other comments.
Ms. Consuela?
I was just thinking about the results from the survey so far, and just being able to see how people are responding and the needs, what they feel this library should include. And it's only 650 people who've responded thus far, and as we, continue to get this information out, get these surveys in people's hands, and to tell people more and more about these surveys and how they can be a part of having a voice in this new library. I'm excited to see where it's going to head. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, the library website has November 14th as our next meeting date, but I have to change that to November the 21st. So I wanted y'all to mark your calendars. It will be at 6 o'clock here in this room on November the 21st. So Mr. Belaine, if we can change that on the website, I would appreciate it. Okay, if there's no more comments from the public, Ms. Maureen, I do appreciate your time, and good luck with the open house and the focus groups, and we look forward to hearing back what you heard from the community. This meeting is adjourned.